Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at practical printing for your 3D printer yet again. And we're going to start out with a customization this time. So let's go ahead and start importing some things. I'm going to import a lid from a wet palette that I have. Give it a second to come right in. There we go. And this is the lid for a wet palette that I like. It's kind of neat, but it's also very bland. There's nothing going on here. So I'd like to emboss my logo in there so that I have a wet palette that says me. It's mine, you can't have it. So let's start out with flipping this sucker over. And let's import an SVG. So an SVG is a scalable vector graphic. So any SVG will work in Tinkercad. The simpler it is, the better. I have gone ahead and taken my logo and converted it to SVG. That is something that there are plenty of tutorials for. You don't need me for that. There we go. We have my logo dropped in. It's a little on the small side, so let's make it just a touch bigger. So that seems to be a fairly good size for this. We're going to select both of those. We're going to line it up on both axes. And I don't want that to be a hole. It's a wet palette. It's supposed to stay damp on the inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop this down until it matches up with the bottom of our plate. There are other ways you could do this, but this is the way that I choose to. I go to move it up into that design, and I'm going to put it in 0.20 millimeters. Actually, I think I did that backwards. Let's move you down, and then click away, click back on, and then move up. We want to move up 1.20. And there we go. It is ever so slightly inside. We're going to make that a hole, and then we're going to group those together. And then we're going to flip you back over so we get a good look at you. Okay, so the reason we do 0.20 is because that is the layer height that we're shooting for. So it will have one layer before it starts to bridge the gap. The smaller it is, the finer the detail, the better the bridge is going to be. But if you get details too small, they'll stop appearing. Actually, 0.20 may have been a bit too much. So let's select you up, and instead of going up 0.65, we're going to go up let's see, 0.5. So that should put us at 0.05. And that will put us at 0.15, which is another common layer height. If you're not printing at a tall enough layer height, that's not going to come through. So that's why I started this out at 0.20. So that should be good enough. Let's go ahead, flip you back over, because that is the direction we want to print. We could do that in the slicer, yes. And then we're going to export it out. And we will pick up when we get back into the Prusa slicer, and I will show you how to get that all sliced up. And here we are in Prusa Slicer, my preferred slicer for many, many reasons, not the least of which I'm using a Prusa Mini. I also use it on my Neptune. So it doesn't look like it's all that interesting, but you can see, if we catch the light just right, that we do actually have it embossed. So let's change our layer height. Since we inset it at 0.15, that would be fine. Let's change it to 0.20 and see if that also comes out just fine. Let's slice it with all the defaults, and you can see that it does in fact stand out. Let's go all the way down to the first couple of layers. So that is layer 1. It's not going to have anything in that the area we want the logo. And then layer 2 will bridge across that. So there we go. Let's go ahead and send that to the printer. I think that's going to be fine. Let's see, print time, 1 hour and 41 minutes. If we want, we might be able to get a slightly faster print if we go with the adaptive. Slice that. It's 1 hour 35. Let's sanity check. Yep, a layer that is empty so that we've got the bridging over the logo. Let's see. I may need to see if I can tweak some settings because the angle of that bridging is less than ideal. That would be a very long bridge. If I get that figured out, we will hop back in as I figure that out. Okay, I have found it. We have a bridging angle setting, and let's change that to 45 degrees and see how that slices. Set now, and hey, look, the bridges will be far shorter in this direction. So yeah, there we go. We have everything set up proper. It's going to be 1 hour and 35 minutes, and let's hop on into the time lapse. And there we have it. We have a fully printed wet palette. It's ready to go together, and here we go. This is what that looks like. It's not really raised, but it is very clear. So something that I discovered recently for the wet palette is that these exist. They are super thin, and they just happen to be perfect for making a wet palette. Look at that, perfect size. Just need to trim one of the edges and off it goes. And to do so, we're going to use this as a template. Get that lined up. And then pull out something to cut that with. It's not particularly difficult to cut. So we've got that cut now. We can drop that down in here. Look, perfect fit. Then this goes in. And then you have your cover. And picking it up just by the cover works just fine. If you do decide to do this, then I recommend either the magic eraser or something similar. It's just melamine. You can find this anywhere. But you're also going to need a piece of wax paper, or parchment paper, not wax paper, to serve as your actual palette surface, so that you're not filling the sponge, you're covering the parchment paper, so you can mix in. This does keep it wet for, I don't know, nearly a week. So yeah, there we go. Well, it looks like that's going to do it for us today, guys. I wanted to say thank you for hanging around this long. If you did and you haven't already hit subscribe, please do. Just so you don't miss out on any of the other cool stuff coming on down the road. If you'd like to hang out with us, please hit us up on Discord. Link is in the About section on the channel, or you can go to discord.wonsnot.com, and I will see you guys in the next one.